If you're an online coach with a solid offer, but you're not closing consistent deals, this video is for you. This has nothing to do with how good your content is or how transformational your program is. It's you and your offer isn't what's broken, it's your back end. And no, before you click off this video, I am not here to pitch you anything. I just want to show you the real mechanics behind consistent high ticket sales. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your sales aren't consistent, even if your offer is great, and how to fix it using the backend systems that the top coaches use to scale. First thing is having a broken sales process. Common myth that people think is that if people aren't buying, it means the offer sucks. But in reality, offers don't close themselves, systems do. The best offer in the world will underperform without a smooth funnel, without a pre-call nurturing process, without a proper sales process with intent-driven volume, and without automations that remove friction. A thing to keep in mind is that your offer is the product, but what actually sells it is what you need to think about. Another thing is having a messy funnel. What most coaches do in a lot of scenarios is that they have a link in bio that maybe has the VSL or text on the page, and it has the call to action to just book a random Calendly to a discovery call, and that's it, which is absolutely horrible. What you need is an opt-in or application funnel. And what this does is it filters out unqualified leads and it builds a commitment before the call. The next thing that you should have is a thank you page video. So after someone books a call, it'll redirect them to this page where it'll show a video setting the expectations, pre-framing the call, and reconnects intent so they don't ghost you. Last thing is to have a automation pre-call sequence that continues to warm up the leads before the call and handles any objections before the closers do. You need to make sure that your funnel is qualifying, pre-selling people, and warms the leads up before a single word is even spoken on the call. Another important thing is to make sure that you have a proper email nurturing system in place. The thing that most coaches do is, when they book a call, they just hope, for the best and just wing it on the call. But without email nurturing, your leads will show up cold, skeptical, and uneducated about the offer. If you want to fix that, you need a 5-step email pre-call sequence. The first email is a confirmation plus what to expect. The second email is a case study / social proof. The third is a personal story plus why you are different. Fourth email is to handle any objections, whether that's money, time, self-doubt, any limiting beliefs, that sort of thing. And then fifth and final thing is to break down the process of the offer or the roadmap, whatever. And in each of these videos, you want to include an embedded videos or testimonials. So for the first email, what to expect, you will want to have a video of you explaining, what to expect and moving steps moving forward. For case studies, you're probably going to want embedded videos from YouTube, for those case studies. Personal story should have a video. Why you're different should have a video. Objection handling should have a video, but that's not honestly necessary. You could just write it out in text in an email, and then break down. All these things should have videos because no one fucking reads anymore. Everyone fucking watches videos. So make videos. Another thing to keep in mind is that if they are not warmed up before the call, your closer is going to have to do all of the heavy lifting inside of the call to actually get the deal closed, which is just going to piss off your sales reps. And you want happy sales reps, don't you? Next is not having any automation set up, this is probably one of the biggest fucking killers inside of your business. Because you cannot scale if you are manually chasing no-shows, manually sending confirmation pages, and manually following up with every single lead. And so this is what you need to automate. You need calendar confirmation and reminders for the pre-call. You need no-show rebooking flows. So if someone, no-shows, you need to have an automation set up so they actually rebook a call, or you can have someone call them to rebook a call. You just need to have something in place to get them to rebook a call. Then you need to have a post-call follow-up, whether they close or not. Even if they close and they've paid you, even if they've paid you in full and you close them, you still need to follow up with something with the congratulations, next steps, blah blah blah, what to expect moving forward, something like that, just to keep them engaged and whatnot. And then this is very important, having a pipeline tracking. So, lead status, notes, and outcome. And here are some simple tools that you're going to need for your automations, right? You're going to need Calendly for the call booking. You're going to need Typeform to qualify leads. You're going to need ConvertKit, or AKA Kit now, for the email automations. And then you need some sort of CRM tracking. So whether that's Airtable, Notion, HighLevel, etc., any CRM that you prefer to use it. You need to track your leads. And then Zapier, which is just, if you don't know what Zapier is, I don't know what you're doing 25, but if you don't know what Zapier is, it just connects different softwares together. So it's the glue that holds everything together to make sure no lead gets lost. Now, this is a pretty simple tech stack. Obviously, you can add some other softwares when you're truly scaling, but if you're just starting out and you have a pretty small info business, then this is a pretty simple tech stack you need. Of course, on top of your landing page builder, whether you're using Framer, ClickFunnels, Wix, GoDaddy, Arrow, etc., whatever. Next is to touch on the sales process. Most coaches wing it on sales calls. Here's what a tight process looks like. One, you have leads that come in qualified. So, people that are booking off your Typeform, who are qualified for your mentorship. Then you have the pre-call material that sets the tone. So all of the questions that you ask inside of that Typeform, that is all your material to understand where they're coming at. Then you have a sales script. It's not word for word, obviously, but this is a proven flow that will get people majority of the time to close. You dig into pain, you build contrast, you present the offer with clarity and conviction, and you handle objections without pressure. And then also you have post-call follow-up automations in case they don't close. You're the one that is taking sales calls for your own business, and perhaps maybe nervous about taking sales calls. Don't be nervous. It's really not that hard. Sales is easy. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. It's super simple, super easy. Just have the mentality of you're hopping on a call with one of your longtime buddies and you're just talking. Next is having a solid pipeline in place so you have predictability. The problem is that you don't know where leads are or what happened to them. And the fix to that is using a simple pipeline tracking system. Even a Notion doc works, whatever you use to track your CRMs, just use that. But this is sort of the way you should be tracking leads in different stages. You have a new lead, you have a booked lead, you have leads that are no-shows, you have closed leads, and then leads you need to follow up with. And then some weekly KPIs that you should be hitting are show up rate KPIs, your close rate, call to close time, and your objection patterns. Make sure every week you're tracking them and so that you can better, improve upon those, because if you don't track anything, you'll never know how to actually properly scale. And so let's just get a quick recap of what needs to surround your offer, right? Because if you know your offer is great, you just know deep down that your offer is really, really good, but you for some reason cannot sell still, you need to be paying attention to the funnel, to the emails, to the automation, to the sales process, to the lead tracking. Make sure all of these are tight and are locked in. And a fun little analogy that I like to use is a sports car, aka your offer, with no fuel, no tires, and no steering wheel, aka your back end, won't get far. So if you don't have a proper back end, your offer is not going to sell, right? So make sure your back end is properly set up and your offer will sell. So now here are my closing thoughts on what I'm going to leave you with now. If you fix the back end, the front end starts to work, leads come in warmer, calls feel easier, and closing becomes consistent. Don't change your offer, just change the systems around it. If you watched this video to the end, I very much appreciate you. If you found any piece of this content valuable, please leave a like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment. Boost my algorithm, please. Trying to grow this channel a little bit, you know what I mean? But I know this video wasn't necessarily an entertaining video. It's pretty boring. I know that. But if you made it through this video, that tells me that you really want this shit and you don't need fucking quick dopamine spikes, which means you're on the right track. All right. So appreciate you guys for watching. Take care and peace.